So I think it's almost good afternoon, but it's good morning for the next minute or so. If you are joining our webinar, you're extremely welcome. We will be kicking off in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, if you're joining us, do feel free to open up the chat box and to say hello. Let us know who you are, where you're joining us from today. It would be interesting to hear that. I'm looking out my window in Blackrock here and the sun is shining. So if you're joining us from around the country, let us know what it looks like wherever you are. Jenny, are you in Yorkshire this morning or where are you?
That's right, I'm in Yorkshire and it's really overcast and dull here and we're expecting a lot of rain. So,
oh dear.
Yeah, it's fine. It's February. That's what you expect.
Exactly. You had a lot of fun with the snow a week or two back.
Yeah, it was really bad actually, but we didn't get the storm nearly as bad as you guys did. How was the storm for you, Tim? Was it dreadful?
Storm was yeah. So I was fortunate enough not to have power outages or water outages, but I know plenty of people who did. So it was extremely disruptive. And I think I'm hoping by now, where are we now? Tuesday. I know certainly this day last week, some people were still being told it would take a week to get them back on in terms of power. And for quite a few people in more remote spots, their power is also instrumental in their water supply. So they kind of lose both. So I think we're getting slowly back to normal. But I have somebody coming to cut the hedges in my own back garden before I think the end of March is the kind of cutoff point. And they had to postpone today because they're still sorting out fallen trees after the storm. So there you go.
Incredible, isn't it?
Still busy. Still busy.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
So again, very welcome if you're joining us. We'll start now in the next minute or so. But I'd love to test out the chat box if you can manage to pop a question in there.
I think it's disabled, Tim, actually. I've just gotten a message from someone.
I think we've got the Q&A box actually open.
Okay.
At the bottom of the screen. So, because Dennis has told me that
oh, great.
He's joining us from the sunny southeast in Dungarvan. We also have Tim joining us, so the chat box is definitely now open. So welcome, Tim from the Central Bank. Welcome, Glenn, in the Dublin Gestalt Centre. Interesting. Very good. Okay, well, it's a couple of minutes after 12, and I know we've got about 40 of us already on the webinar. No doubt others will be joining as we go along. So let me kind of formally open the webinar and say a very, very warm welcome to you. My name is Tim Ray. I'm the Director of Executive Development here at the Smurfit School. And I have the pleasure of kind of hosting this event today and chairing some of the panel discussions. We've got two panels with us. First panel I'm going to have a conversation with in a few moments is made up of those who are involved in the program design, program delivery, program leadership of our three coaching programs. And then a little bit later, we're going to have a conversation with some participants, people who have completed each of our three programs. Of course, the three programs are the ones that you can see on the screen in front of you right now. Our Diploma in Business and Executive Coaching, which starts towards the back end of April. Our Diploma in Advanced business and executive coaching starting on the 9th of April. And first up is our diploma in team coaching, which commences on the 26th of March. I'm going to assume that in terms of those who are on the webinar here today, you may have an interest in one of those specific programs, or indeed be interested in the entire suite. So we'll hopefully connect those for you. And of course, those 3 diplomas also form our Masters in Business and Executive Coaching pathway, which allows you to combine the 3 coaching diplomas into a master's level qualification, or indeed take 2 of them and mix and match with our leadership diploma or our diploma in organizational change. So lots of flexibility and different optional pathways for you to pursue. One thing I'm going to say, I'm going to indulge a little bit by saying that, and maybe it's important to say, that Smurfit Executive Development is the top-ranked executive education school in the country. We are ranked both for our custom executive education and our open programs, and these are examples of our open program portfolio. We're ranked in the top 50 and the only business school in Ireland to be ranked by the Financial Times in the top 50 globally for both our open and custom programs. And I say that more that just to convey to you, I hope, a sense of confidence and safety when you come to us, that hopefully you will have a world-ranked and world-class experience in terms of executive development. So I'm going to ask Patrick just to take the slide down off the screen, and let me encourage you, if you have joined us, I think everybody is, I haven't heard any coughs, splutters, or dogs barking yet, so I'm assuming that most people have their mics muted, but all the usual protocol when it comes to an online webinar, if you could keep your mic muted, that will be excellent, and very helpful for us. But we do want to really encourage and maximize participation. So as we're listening to contributions on both panels, please feel free at any stage to get involved in the conversation. The chat box is open. We have the Q&A box as well as the chat box. I'm going to suggest that we use the chat box for questions as well. Should be working for everyone. I like to think I can multitask, but I can't really watch 2 boxes at the one time. So if you put any questions that you have in the chat box, we will monitor that, and we'll pick up your individual questions and put them to the panelists to make sure that you get to specifically hear what you want to, or you get to find out and get the information that you came here today to get hold of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our first panel, and I'm delighted to welcome Anna Rowan, Jenny Stacey, and Mary Curtis, who are program directors or program leads on each of our 3 executive coaching programs. And I'm going to get them to, well, perhaps I'll get Anna to introduce herself first, and then I'll come to Jenny and Marion and get them to do likewise. Anna, would you just like to give a few words about your background and how you came to be involved in the Diploma in Business and Executive Coaching?
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, I am a business and executive coach, and I have been running my own business since 2002 when I left Aer Lingus. And I did the course myself in about 2014, and I've been on the tutor team since either 2015 or 2016. And I've been leading out on the program for the last 2 or 3 years. So how I came into coaching was I have a background in organizational psychology, and a lot of my clients were interested in coaching, and they were asking me about coaching. And I'd been looking at the Smurfit course for a long time, thinking, can I afford it? Can't I afford it? And I finally signed up to it and did the course back in 2014. Excellent.
Thanks, Anna. I hope you found good value. Jenny, would you like to say a few words just to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I first started off as a Gestalt psychotherapist, and then in about 2000 did Peter Bluckett's coaching diploma in the UK. and suddenly got that real excitement of, oh, this is great. I really enjoyed the difference between therapy and coaching. And then I came onto the faculty here to do the advanced diploma, which is like a coaching psychology course. So it's, for me, it just got these two bits of the world that I live in perfectly matched. And now I'm sort of the program director of the advanced diploma. And it's a fantastic place to be, you know, working at UCD and doing things that I love. So I'm very chuffed with that.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, certainly all kind of concur with the doing the things that you love theme is certainly great. Mary, are you doing what you love? You're on mute.
I am. Yes, I am doing what I love. I am a graduate of the masters. Actually, I did the 3 coaching diplomas, and I also did the diploma in organizational change. So I have found my education through Smurfit to be fantastic and life-changing. I'm part of a small practice now where we coach CEOs, and I do a lot of team coaching. Yeah, and it's I really appreciate the education I've had in Smurfit, and it's a joy to be able to participate in this way now.
Excellent. So you're all very welcome. Great to have you kind of with us today. And what we want to do is find out a little bit more about the each of the 3 programs, just to get a sense of them. And again, can I encourage you, if you are listening in, please do pop any questions into the chat box. Anna, I'm going to come to you first. You're involved in the diploma in business and executive coaching, and I'm kind of interested in your sense of that program. We've entitled this webinar "The Smurfit Coaching Way." What is the Smurfit Coaching Way?
Okay, well, I suppose coaching for all of us is about enabling change. And you know, when we're learning to coach and we're becoming confident with coaching, we pay attention to, well, you know, what does the theory tell us? So we have a good strong focus on the academic side with the theories and the approaches, and the evolution of coaching over the years. And there's also the practical side. So we look at, you know, how to begin the conversation, how to respond to all situations as they arise. And so those 2 strands really help us and enable us to be a coach. But in relation to when you say to show us the Smurfit way, what really comes to mind to me is how we pay particular attention to the psychological dimensions. And the psychological dimensions really help us to notice and pay attention to things like our unconscious barriers to change. And it sort of defines the quality of the conversation that we can have with our coachees. So you know, so we really work with each other, because we use the theory and the approaches to discuss and to explore and to bring them into our coaching practice. Now the lead tutors are practitioners, and so are the coach practice tutors, and they've all been through the course. So we do have that high ratio of tutor and participant in the group. And because we're always discussing our own real issues and our own real challenges and goals through demonstrations and through coach practice, we form a very, very solid and trusting network with each other. And that really withstands throughout the whole program. So transformational change does take time. And so this program, the Diploma in Business and Executive Coaching, it runs over 10 months. And during that 10 months, there are 6 workshops. And there's about 6 weeks in between those workshops. So during those 6 weeks, the learning groups are working together. The participants are working on their assignments, either individually or together. We have a very comprehensive reading list. We have podcasts, we have videos. And the participants have got 90 hours pro bono coaching. So they're putting the theory and the practice into real life coaching that they're doing with their participants, and they're bringing that learning back to their learning group and to the bigger group when we meet. So it is really a commitment, Tim. I'd say for participants, it's a day or a day and a half per week that they commit to this program, because it is it is a very well recognized, and it is a very high profile program.
So really interesting, Anna. So some of the things I'm hearing, theoretically robust, but highly practical and highly applied. I'm hearing something about that high ratio of tutors to participants, so a lot of kind of individual and group interaction. The psychological underpinnings that I think was something we'll hear again as we chat to Jenny and Mary, and the kind of importance of the learning community is something that kind of very much jumps out of what you said, and how important and how strong that learning community is. And I think it's I'm going to guess it's quite a supportive environment as you describe it. Kind of question for me is that if I was thinking about coming on this program and then kind of exiting it in 10 months' time, what could I expect to be walking away from in terms of skill sets and so on? How am I going to be different? How am I going to be changed? What will I be able to do that I can't do?
How will you be different? How will you be changed? Well, you will have done a lot of reflective practice, and you will have got a lot of feedback from the tutors and from other participants. So you will be more self-aware. You will most probably have made some transformational change yourself. You will also be a fully qualified and experienced coach. And the program that you will have completed is accredited by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, the EMCC. So, that is a very high, highly recognized program. But also what you have is you can then fast track to your individual professional accreditation from completing the program. So that's kind of two things. It's your own transformational change and self-awareness, and also the accredited, that you've finished the accredited program, so you're a qualified coach. You will also have a very solid network, Tim, of coaches who you have worked with, they've experienced your journey, and you have also enabled their journey. So it is a very solid network that you'll have at the end of the program.
And thanks, Anna, for mentioning the EMCC, which of course is an accreditation shared by all three of the programs. We'll come back to you, Anna, but I'm going to just come to Jenny. So Jenny, you're the program director of our diploma in advanced business and executive coaching. So that one word gets inserted in terms of the title of the program that Anna is looking after. So what is the significance of that word, advanced?
Well, the history of the diploma just came from people who'd been on the diploma Anna's talking about, and just wanted more understanding of the psychological level. But yet it felt like actually going off to do a whole sort of training in psychology was not what people wanted. So we developed the advanced diploma to really look at coaching psychology schools, different schools. And so each of the modules had a different psychological lens that we sort of bring along to help people explore different schools like psychodynamics or transactional analysis. So each module has a theme. And then, so by the end of the program, people will have a very clear knowledge of very different ways of working with people, looking at what's important for their coaches. So they've got a lot of academic understanding, but also lots of skills and tools, again, to practically, how do I bring Gestalt, for example, if that was the school we're looking at, into this moment with this person that I'm working with now. So they've got a wide range of different things that they can bring to their coaching with each individual. So that's part of it. And again, as Anna, very similar. Our diploma is over 10 months, and there's 6 modules, 2-day modules, and we take, as I say, a different school for each. And I think it's fair to say that you do quite a lot less presentation work and coaching hours for our diploma. What we're expecting for people who come onto our diploma is that they are already a coach and established in their practice, and they want to take their work to the next level and really to gain mastery in being able to be in the here and now and in their coaching practice. So that's what we provide, really, a place to really allow that to happen. And a massive part of that is to do inner work. So the whole of the diploma is based on working on yourself, taking a deep dive into what are my patterns, how come I behave in this way when this happens, and to really do that reflection and self-work to become more aware of what is holding me back, the sort of things that really keep me in my place, and what can I loosen up to so that I can move into working in a different way, or being in my life in a different way. The final workshop is the existential workshop. So that's really to do with what matters, what's important in my life. Have I got the right balance here? And so these are massive questions that many of our coachees come with. And so you've got all the thoughtfulness about that, and also the skills.
Thanks, Jenny, and we'll come back. I'm just going to jump to Mary to get just talk a little bit about team coaching. I'm just kind of keeping one eye on the clock as well, and just to say to everybody on the webinar, we are scheduled to run up to 1 o'clock. We'll be out of here by 5 to 1, so we'll make sure you get the chance to have a sandwich at some stage. Mary, I hear a lot about team coaching these days, but it's a little bit of a phrase out there. Can you talk to me, explain to me something a little bit more about team coaching, and how does it differ from individual one-to-one coaching, and why should I want to aspire to being a team coach?
So, I mean, teams are the lifeblood of organizations, and organizations need to operate effectively in order to achieve their goals and their business purpose. And good, functioning, healthy teams are actually key to this. So team coaching is really important and really vital from that point of view. Working with teams is complex because obviously there are more individuals there, so it requires a lot of the team coach to understand what's going on in the team, what are the dynamics, what needs to happen, what's the common goal and the common purpose. So team coaching looks at the various different models, diagnostics and approaches to how you manage and work with teams. But back to the Smurfit way, which is that all of our diplomas are very much based in Gestalt and who we are. A lot of being a team coach is how you turn up, how you are as an individual, your sense of self and your presence. So it's a very nice mixture of my development, who I am, my maturity as a coach, but also understanding the business needs that organizations and teams need.
And is it just me, or do I hear team coaching being something that I'm going to say has sort of taken off, in recent years? I talk to me a little bit about the kind of the interest in team coaching.
Yeah, there's a huge interest in team coaching, and I actually do a lot of team coaching rather than one-to-one, because organizations realize that people need to work together in order to make things work. So I think with COVID as well, because teams were dispersed, they were hybrid, they were virtual, people realize the importance of connection. So as a result, there is greater demand for team coaching. There is greater demand for people to work effectively together. Yeah, and I suppose, it's quite young. People only started writing about it maybe in the late 90s onwards. So people are still trying to understand it. We're very fortunate in Smurfit that we have the diploma. My understanding is there's no other diploma in Ireland, and there are only 2 in the UK, and we are fully EMCC accredited. And we're also a diploma that gives you all of the options rather than necessarily, being attached to one particular discipline or one particular practitioner. So this is a really good, solid, overarching team coaching diploma that lets you see all the possibilities that are there for you when you're working with teams, and so that you can develop and decide what type of team practitioner, team coaching practitioner you want to be.
And just talk to me a little bit about the folks that will come and join you to deliver this program. I think we have some people coming from outside the country.
Yeah, so we ask that people are established coaches that have a recognized qualification and that have been coaching for 3 years or a minimum of 100 hours. It's really important that you understand the basics of coaching when you join this program, that you understand how to relate to people, transaction analysis, gestalt, relationship, all of that is hugely, hugely important. And yes, we are having people from overseas who are joining the program, which is fantastic because it's a big commitment. But I think because of how broad-based this is, and also our tutors that are coming, we've Dr. Declan Woods, we've Dr. Marianne Shiderak, and we also have Dr. Sally Denham-Vaughan. So we're bringing in this expertise as well. They are thought leaders in terms of team coaching and also working with organisations. And Eileen Duggan will also be joining us. Eileen obviously is a senior practitioner in terms of systemic constellations. So it's bringing thinkers, practitioners, and different points of view to the program, which we feel is really important.
I might come back to you, Mary. I want to have a follow-up question with Jenny, and again, just to encourage people, don't see any questions in the chat box. I'm hoping the chat box is operating. I'm assured that it is. So if you do have a question, we're going to move to the participant panelists fairly shortly. So if you have any questions for the program leaders, just do pop them in there and we will pick them up. Jenny, I'm just one of the questions in the kind of back of my mind. I think you did touch on this, but just to kind of distill it and crystallize it, I'm interested in what your ambition is for people who come on this program. What kind of excites you when you see somebody leaving the program? And I'm not sure from my experience whether anybody ever really does leave these programs, because I believe the community and the network is so strong. I think it sustains itself. But in terms of stepping out of the program, what's your hope and aspiration and ambition for somebody who's come on this program? What would you like to say they have done this or they've changed in this way?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting sort of developmental arc in a way that they have on a sort of professional level. So they'll come in already knowing about coaching, but they are able to then take it to a deeper level. So they've got psychological understanding, but also they've got that ability to work in the here and now, to think, I think we could try this now, or so they'll be able to experiment with different things, try things out with the person. So they'll meet their coachee, but they'll also be able to think, what might this person need to help them become more aware of what they're up to and how they are in the world, what's their impact on me. So they'll have a sort of a deeper understanding of what's going on. They will also hopefully have transformed personally, because they've come to really be aware of their own way of being in the world. And so they will have done a lot of unpacking the backpack on your back, that sort of stuff that keeps us sort of as we are, and be able to have sorted through some of the things in there and rearranged some of the aspects. And they'll also have a real clear idea about knowing themselves and knowing what they want to do next, really, in terms of being the best coach they can be. So that's real idea of mastery, personal awareness and mastery, I suppose, would be how I see them.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. And I've got one question that's kind of popped up in the Q&A box. I'm not sure, Mary, if this is one that we can answer here and now. But the question is, will Smurfit be able to assist me with providing a team to coach if I cannot secure one? Difficult question.
It is, yeah, it is a difficult question. I mean, normally when you join the program, if you haven't got a team, other people may have a team and work and they can offer it, but it's not the same as the pro bono coaching. Now we can obviously offer letters to show that we are supportive of it, etc. And but we don't have a kind of a line of teams lining up to be coached pro bono, but we can absolutely help in terms of suggestions, making sure that the information is there, and helping people try and find teams. It's always a worry. I know this myself because I lost a team and had to find a team again, but it does happen, it does happen. And what we're saying to people is you don't have to be there on day one with the team, but you must have some ideas or have reached out to teams, because otherwise you're a foot behind or a step behind. So I don't know if but if anybody wants to kind of reach out through me directly or through Siobhan, they're very welcome.
Yeah, and I think that's a great
Yeah.
pointer. And maybe something just to say in regard to all of the programs. I think it's particularly important on a program like any of the coaching programs that if you do want a slightly deeper conversation, obviously our business development guys, James is on this call. Annabelle will be back with us shortly next week, and Patrick is on this call as well. But all of our program leaders and directors would be very happy to have a conversation with you as well, where a nuanced question like that has maybe more opportunity to get developed and thoroughly sort of ventilated and answered. So maybe that might be the best way to pick that up. So thank you for that, Mary. Now, what I'm going to do is going to thank Anna and Jenny and Mary for now. And they can switch off their cameras and have a cup of coffee and relax. And I'm going to ask Mairead and Annalisa and Michael to switch on their cameras. And now this is kind of when we get to find out that everything that was just said is authentic. Not that I doubt our program directors in any way whatsoever, I hasten to add, but it's good to hear it directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak, in terms of the experience on the program and how that has worked out. And again, be it in the chat box or the Q&A, I think I've managed to tic-tac between both of them here. Please do get involved. And Chantel, I see your question here in the Q&A. Would you be able to clarify the structure of the team coaching diploma? Specifically, are participants grouped into teams for certain aspects of the program, or following on from Mary said, do participants need to have an existing team set up before starting the program? But Mary, I'm very sorry if you're now eating a biscuit and having a cup of coffee, but if you are able to just jump back in there quickly. Can you see that question?
Yeah, so in terms of the team coaching diploma, yes, you are put into a learning group and a team, because you have to remember what it's like to be in a team. So you're doing a team coaching diploma, you will have to work with others as part of a team. In terms of your coaching, you will be put with another co-coach. That's somebody that you will choose yourself, and you will work with one another with both your teams. So the requirement is 14 hours, which includes diagnostics, interviews, and coaching per team. So because you'll be co-coaching, you will end up doing 28 hours. You will lead on the team that you own, and the other person will lead on the team that they own. But again, myself and Siobhan are available to kind of go through that in greater detail. And you don't, I don't want people to commit to teams and then come on the first program and go, oh my God, I've made a mess of it. But I would like people to have teams ready to go, maybe one or two, to come in, to talk to the other participants and to see what's needed, rather than have committed definitively to somebody and then go, actually, this is the wrong fit, I need to backtrack. So I would encourage people to put feelers out and to maybe have one or two options, if at all possible, or even one option, to bring it to the workshop, and then we can discuss contracting, how you're going to manage it, and all that end of kind of the logistics. But if you know, again very happy to take a call to go through this in greater detail.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mary. Thanks. You can now have a cup of tea.
Okay.
You know, and I see Sinead has a question there as well. I'm gonna come to Michael first, because he might actually be able to answer that question for us from a participant perspective. But I'm going to get Michael just to well, Michael, if you'd like to just introduce yourself, and then I'll get Mairead and Annalisa just to do the same thing, and maybe just introduce yourself and what was your motivation for getting involved in the diploma in business and executive coaching.
Good afternoon, all. I worked for about 26 years at Board Bia, and latterly I was the organization and industry talent director within Board Bia. I did most roles within Board Bia, and really over that period, I had really enjoyed mentoring and helping people progress in their careers. So I felt a natural leaning to it. And for the last phase of my career, I thought, well, now I want to actually really focus on what I enjoy, which is about helping people to change and prosper in their career. And that's really what drew me into the executive coaching. I wanted to have structure and knowledge. I thought I was coaching, but I was really mentoring. And really what this was about was giving me a structure, models, and tools to do this really effectively.
Thank you, Michael. I'm going to come back to you shortly. I'm going to bring Mairead and Annalisa in just to kind of get them into the conversation early on. Annalisa, you've done the advanced diploma in business and executive coaching. And again, just a little bit about you, your background, and what drew you into this kind of coaching path.
Yes, thanks, Timothy. So I did my first coaching diploma in 2016, 2017, and I've just finished the advanced coaching program a few weeks ago. So originally I would have worked in the corporate sector in various organizations around IT, cloud infrastructure, CRM systems, and then following that, I spent about 10 years in the nonprofit sector working with social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, and supporting high potential startups in that arena. And I've been involved in startups before. I'm very interested, a little bit like Michael, more about the people side of it and what drives, in terms of looking at lots of different aspects of strategy and programs. I was always really interested in the people element of what's making things successful or not, from the teams and the individuals working on it. So that's what drew me into coaching. And actually, I used to bring in some of the Smurfit coaches into our organization and into the people, our clients, to work with them. Until I was sort of challenged by one of them, Pamela Fay, actually, who's part of these programs, to say, you know, why aren't you doing this? Which is what actually led me to do the first diploma.
Excellent. Thanks, Annalisa. And Mairead, just the same kind of question. Just give us headlines on yourself. And I know you've completed the team coaching diploma.
So I've actually completed the three programs, the most recent one, which is the team coaching diploma. And I suppose what drew me to that was having qualified as an executive business coach. And having worked my background is in financial services and organizational change, and I'd always worked in HR roles in organizations. So passionate as well about the people development side of things and leadership development. Really having been part of teams and having led my own teams, I kind of missed the contact with teams as a coach. So working one-to-one, while I really, really enjoyed that, and I still do, passionate about that. But I also love the cut and thrust of working with teams really in the moment. As Mary said, the complexity of dealing with teams in organizations, it's really dialed up when you're working with the team, and holding the space for a team to really connect, work together, face into where they are and where they want to be, is really enjoyable work. And yeah, it takes courage, and it's very challenging, but really rewarding.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. No, thank you. And I'm going to dip into that a little bit with Michael. I just come back to to the diploma. I'm going to guess that those who are many people who are on the webinar today, some like each of you will have completed some steps in this coaching journey already. They may have done 1 or 2 diplomas, and we can kind of talk about that kind of coaching path. Some will not have will be at the starting point in this journey, Michael, and I know this was your first exec diploma that you've taken on, and I'm going to guess that there are some very practical things that are in their head, something around that. What am I getting myself into here? I like the idea of this, but what am I really getting myself into? I wonder about things like workload and managing that in parallel with the day job. Getting back into, I'm going to say, a classroom setting. I know the setting is very different from a classroom setting. You might describe that, but nevertheless, from the outside looking in, I might think, am I really up for this to get back into kind of a classroom setting? There's a certain vulnerability about that. How did you feel kind of coming back into this, and how did you manage those kind of challenges of kind of workload and, as I say, that kind of vulnerability? I've got to write an essay here. And well, first of all, maybe I'm making the wrong assumptions. Are those reasonable questions to pose?
Yes, they are reasonable questions. There is 100 hours of pro bono coaching over maybe 14 months that you need to fulfill, and that is a workload because that takes time. But it can all be done. Most of the people on the program had full-time jobs. It's really, you are building into your private time to achieve the objectives of the course. So the 3 dimensions of work are the attendance, which is thoroughly enjoyable. I would have said anybody who landed in that room felt a warmth and actually just got stuck in. There was I wouldn't have said anyone found that difficult. The assignments are challenging, but once you get stuck into them, you can achieve them. It's really about planning them well. And then the one area people did have a little bit of concern about or anxiety about was, how do I find coachees within it? But there are a number of ways of doing that. It's through your own network of people. A lot of people want coaching through some business connections, and also in the program, individual participants share coachees. So I would have passed on 2 coachees who I felt there was a conflict. I would have that I shouldn't have got involved, and so there's ways of doing that. So I think working with the program, it's all very achievable while holding a full-time job, but it does require a real level of commitment in that part. It will impact on other parts of your life because it is a diploma. It is 30 credits, and you've got to put a fair bit of work in.
And I would pick up, Michael, you kind of touched on it now, which is great. I'm going to pick up on Sinead's specific question so that gets answered. She says, can you please advise what level coachees need to be at? Is there a prescription? They need to be senior level, middleman? What's the protocol in regard to the level of coachees?
I don't think there's a specific protocol on it. I think what you need is a mixture of coachees from different levels. So I would have had, I was looking through it, I had about 13 coachees over the program, and they varied from being executive, manager, or head of divisions within it. I was particularly fortunate I had those contacts, but it's really about having a mixture within that, so that you can actually, you're actually building your own skills over that period. So I think it's a mixture, and I think we all have those levels of contacts in our lives.
Is there, because Michael, you described as what your role was in kind of board BA, so you're well used to learning programs. Did anything surprise you? What most surprised you on this program in terms of what you might have experienced or taken away?
I suppose I enjoyed it having an understanding of Smurfit, and I knew the quality of programs that were being offered on that. I think what really was the added dimension, or the piece that surprised me, was my own personal journey and my own understanding. I think Mairead mentioned it earlier in terms of just understanding yourself, actually being it. And I love this concept on Gestalt, which was really about the paradox of the more you become yourself, the more you lean into your own natural ways of doing things, the more you actually set yourself up for change. So I would have found that personal learning, that personal insight, how I impact on other people, really, really valuable in it. And you even find it in your own family environment where you bite your tongue on occasions where you might have shouted in the past to achieve what you want to do. So understanding people, there's a lot of positive personal gain in it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting point that I've heard more than one person say coming from the programs. It's a very kind of holistic experience that, you know, it's not just impacting your working life, it's also impacting all other areas of your life as well. And Elisa, you took the advanced coaching program, and you know, Jenny earlier was talking about that kind of going deeper again. Can you describe that from a participant experience? How did that feel for you as a participant?
It was, well, I suppose the first diploma gives us this excellent foundation. And for me, it really whetted the appetite. Jenny mentioned, you know, wanting more, and I did want more. So I knew it was always something I wanted to go back and do. For me, what was wonderful about deepening my knowledge and skill and understanding of different psychological approaches was that ability to start layering those lenses in different ways. So they each give a very useful insight in different ways, and having those different psychological approaches more at my fingertips, I'm finding it a richer experience then to go with my coaches, my clients to adapt to what they need, to get a greater sense of where I might go, to experiment and play with it more. So I have a much greater understanding, I would feel, of that co-creation process, that piece of the relationship between the coach and the client, and how we co-create that together. So that's that ability to apply those different lenses, to know more about those different approaches, to recognize things in the here and now, in the felt sense and so on, is much deeper. It's really rich. And for me, I'd have to say there was that luxury of going deeper. That in the first diploma, there's such a great rich experience of so many different areas that you start to learn about. For me, it was a great way to indulge going deeper in each of those areas and having the time to do that.
I have a follow-up question for you in a moment, but just to kind of remind people that, again, you know, please, we've had 3 or 4 questions in the, I think they went into the Q&A box. That's perfectly fine. So any way you want to do it, if you want to ask a question, we've about 10 minutes to run at most. So if you do want to ask a question, get the question into either the chat box or the Q&A box. Either is fine. We'll pick it up there. Annalisa, there's a phrase you used there. You said that Jenny, you talked about, you know, wanting, you know, people wanted more, and therefore we have the advanced diploma, and you used the same phrase. And that's what I'm just kind of digging around that a little bit. When you came away from the diploma in business and executive coaching, how had it whetted your appetite, and what did you want more of?
I think we all found, having done the first diploma, we all came at it for various reasons, and curiosity and maybe aspirations of what we wanted to do with it. But the surprise was exactly what Michael said. You learn so much, it uncovers so much, and you only get more curious. And I think, which is such an important part of coaching. So for me, I've looked at lots. Every year I sort of add something else. I've done some work around systemic constellations. I found that was introduced in the first course, and I found that really interesting. So I went a little bit deeper. So there's that piece of this work which I love, which I find hugely fulfilling, is from a coach, from a selfish perspective, is it's wonderful to see where you can bring the clients and how you can work with them and their development, but there's so much you also get out of it. And so it's that curiosity to go deeper and understand more depth.
Thanks, Annalise. I'm going to just pop over to Mairead for a moment. Mairead, you mentioned that you have completed all 3 diplomas and completed the Masters in executive coaching as well. I want to ask you a question specifically about team coaching, but before I ask that, in what way have these programs impacted your professional practice? So, you know, have they 10% impacted it? You know, if I look at what you do in terms of your working life and how you do it and how you execute your role as a coach, is it 90% what you've picked up in these programs? What impact, because it is possible sometimes to kind of go on programs and you pick up the qualification, but actually it has, something of an impact, but not a profound one. How would you describe the impact of these programs on your professional practice in a very real and applied way?
When I started the business and executive coaching diploma, I was full-time employed in a HR leadership role. I was an internal coach, doing my best with the GROW model, insofar as I understood that at the time. But really, it had no proper professional grounding as a coach. So I was really interested in kind of deepening my practice, first of all, inside the organization. And that's what started me on that journey. And I suppose I was at a stage in life when I was also curious about, well, how is my next chapter developing? How might that be? So I was kind of at that crossroads, and I had a couple of reasons, I suppose, for starting on the program. And like Annalise, I was curious for more after the business and executive program commenced the advanced, and I transitioned out of the corporate world at that point in time to set up my own coaching practice. So I now work as an executive leadership and team coach. And I work with my own clients and with a number of other providers to provide executive and team coaching. So it's been profound for me in terms of giving me the confidence and capability, but also supporting me in that transition. Both in life, as people have said, you go much deeper. The advanced program particularly gives you that. You're introduced to it on the business and executive program. You just have this hunger to go. As Annalise said, your curiosity is awakened in this world, if you like, and you just really want to. Well, I was really wanting to be the best I could be and to learn more and more, both about myself and about myself in relation to others. And all of that has been really fantastic background to undertake the team coaching diploma. And I see there's a question that is about dynamics in teams. And I think it starts with the psychology that comes through in each one of the programs, and it's certainly one of the modules that is on the team coaching program around dynamics. But understanding yourself, getting to understand how we come to be in the world, what are the experiences that have shaped us, and like Annalise mentioned there, the advanced program in particular gave me such a variety of ways of working, and I too have gone on to specialize in some of those. But I can offer that when I meet something from the client. So I'm not coming along with a box of tricks and trying to apply things. I'm there seeing the need in the here and now and responding and offering to what might meet that. So it's been life-changing for me, for my professional life, but I suppose an extension of what I had done before. And I think on the final day of the first diploma, I had a real emotional moment saying, this is what I want to do. So I just had that kind of moment. So that's been the change for me.
Excellent. Thank you. We have this question about, and we could bring back, and sorry, so folks, thank you, Michael and Mairead and Annalisa. I'm watching the clock here and looking to honor people's time. So we have a few questions that have come into the chat box, and I'm going to perhaps invite Anna and Mary and Jenny. They can put on their cameras again. But Michael and Mairead and Annalisa, keep yours on as well, because whoever wants to jump in, just stick your hand up or whatever. Let me know that you have an answer. There are a couple of questions here. One question is about clarifying whether teamwork dynamics are incorporated into the executive coaching diploma or simply addressed in the team coaching diploma. So is there an element of teams in the diploma and the advanced diploma? Anna or Jenny, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I suppose my thoughts in relation to that question are that most of the things that come up for us come up with somebody else, either within the team or within a particular dynamic. So with the diploma, what we really focus on is we focus on the person raising their own self-awareness in relation to how do they contribute to that dynamic, and what is their choice and control in relation to their part in the dynamic. And also looking at when somebody becomes more self-aware of that, they become much more confident in how they interact in the dynamic.
Okay, thanks, Anna. Jenny, did you want to jump in there?
I just wanted to jump in a bit that we on our program, we have like one module that's all about system and field. So you'll be bringing in the organizational culture from that. And also in both diplomas, actually, I think on Anna's diploma, there's we do have something called a sort of a process group where we're actually looking at the dynamics between people there. So we'd call it like group dynamics rather than teamwork, but in a way there is part of all that is there. What's really going on here would be the question that we'd also be asking.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm going to throw this out to the group, and whoever wants to, somebody throw your hand up. Don't be shy. Is it feasible to fulfill the course if not working while doing it? So I'm going to get, yeah, Michael, jump in there. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just from the recent course I was on, there were 2 or 3 people who weren't in full-time work at that point, who were either transitioning, had taken time out and were transitioning back into work. And I think they actually got a lot out of it. And I think it actually set them up for that next stage to move back in. So it is possible to do it while not working, as well as working.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go on, Anna. Yeah.
Sorry, Tim. What really comes to mind for me for the person who asked that question is the fact that they will have 90 hours of pro bono coaching if they're thinking about the diploma in business and executive coaching. So it is busy.
Yes, and I think one of the challenges is it's having the sufficient connections to be able to mobilize the different activities on the program. So you can be not working as such in full-time employment, but you will still need to find the coachees and so on. But all of that can be worked through the various networks.
Yeah, just to say, Tim, I wasn't working when I did the first diploma, and I actually found that my learning group were fantastic in terms of finding coachees. And you dig deep, but you get there. So I wouldn't worry hugely about it. It's absolutely possible. And yeah, so again, and it was fantastic. I agree with Michael. It was exactly what I needed at the time, you know. So what do they say? Pivoting post-corporate.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Excellent. Yeah. And so that's great. That's fantastic to get a kind of a first-hand testimonial that that can be done. And I'm going to guess that while there will be people who are not working at this particular point in time, there'll also be a lot of people in transitions in the coaching programs as well. We've heard a lot of stories of shifting careers and moving out of corporates and setting up own businesses and so on. So that's obviously a kind of a key thing. What are prerequisite experiences or qualifications required for entry to the diploma? Basic entry level is an undergraduate degree, but 5 years of relevant work experience is also substitutable. So there is a process for that, but you are not ruled out if you don't have that first degree. Patrick in the chat box says, for additional clarification questions or to arrange to speak with a faculty member, please feel free to reach out to me on Patrick Murray. So Patrick is our head of open programs, and he's helpfully popped his email address into the chat box there. If you have further queries, any specific questions for any specific panelists today, we would be delighted to forward them on, and I know they would be delighted to respond to them. I have a question about gender balance. Additionally, could you provide any insights into gender balance within the course? Sorry, I missed that one. Well, we'll just quickly go around all three. Anna, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we always have, for any of the courses I've worked on, there has been men and women, typically more women than men, although we have had a program where we did have more men than women. So I would say it's 1/3, 2/3.
Any?
Yeah,
That'd be
1/3,
nice.
sorry. 1/3 men, 2/3 women.
Yeah. On the last diploma, I think they were just under half, you know, on men really, sort of. So it was a bit higher than that.
And any team coaching, I'm sure, is a reasonably similar kind of reflection.
Yeah, my understanding is the participants who signed up that it's kind of 50-50 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it certainly the gender balance is there. Michael, I don't know if you want to throw any comment into that.
I would have said ours was 60-40, 60% female, 40% male. It was probably higher male.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in that kind of territory.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, details of all of the programs are on our Smurfit Executive Development website. Again, Patrick has put his email address into the chat box. You can get us in the Exec Ed general inquiry account as well. So clearly we would be delighted to hear from anybody who wanted to follow up in any depth around any of these programs. And if you want to be put in touch specifically with any panelists today, I know everybody would be delighted to have a more in-depth conversation. Perhaps those, so for Anna and Mary and Jenny, more about if you want a conversation about the design of the program, the requirements of the program. Michael and Elisa and Mairead, I know, will be delighted to chat to you about their own personal experience of the program and their own journey through it, which will be very rich as well. Folks, we've ticked 1 minute past 1 o'clock. I've just about failed to keep up my commitment to getting you out at 1 o'clock, but hopefully not to any great detriment. So thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you to all of you who have joined us online. And we look forward to connecting with you soon in Smurfit Executive Development. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
Thanks everyone. It's been great.
I know. Nice
Yeah.
meeting you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, shit.